Welcome back to r/JustNoHOA, where people share stories about their crazy homeowner associations that make us feel better about not living in an HOA. And in case you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our awesome community. Without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled Stand Up to the HOA and Win. The other way around. I helped a customer stand up to their HOA and win. I worked as a team supervisor for DirecTV at this time. Most of my duties were administrative, but if anyone on my team had an escalated call, supervisor requested, then those were my job too. One of my agents got a call, and from what he told me, the customer immediately requested a supervisor. That he needed someone with more authority than a frontline service rep, even though my agent could have handled this. So I take the call, and the guy is frantic and asking me for help. He had been going rounds with his HOA over the placement of his satellite dish. As it turned out, due to various obstructions, the only way his dish could be installed and maintain a quality signal was to be pole mounted. So it is on a pole in his side yard instead of on the roof/side of the house. The HOA had deemed that a violation and fined him. They then threatened further proceedings against him when he refused to pay. Something about violation of the HOA covenant agreement or some nonsense like that. They had shown up this day to further the issue, and he decided to call us and see if there was anything we could do. Oh yes, there was. I asked if I could speak to the HOA rep that was in his home, and he was more than pleased to let me handle it. After introducing myself and whatnot, I informed the HOA rep that it is a violation of federal law to deny the homeowner the placement of their dish if that is the only place it could be installed to get a high quality signal. The HOA rep instantly starts trying to tell me what is what when I just rattled off over-the-air reception device rule of the Telecommunications Act 1996. What? The OTAD rule. It's a part of the act I just named that explicitly forbids the restriction of placement of a signal reception device if that is the only feasible installation option. In short, you cannot make him remove it, and if you force it, he has options. I could not literally say he can take you to court since I'm not one of the corporate lawyers, but the point was made clear enough. He just handed the phone back to my customer and left the house. The customer was so damn excited. You have no idea how much of a hassle this has been, fighting with them over this for months. The threats of fines etc. Thank you so much. A victory for the little guy. F HOAs and their power-tripping little sycophants. And the next one is titled, They Would Measure My Grass. I would sit in my yard with my dog between 4 and 6 PM every Friday for 3 months. Why? Because the HOA would measure my grass every damn Friday. My lawn guy was the best and I refused to switch, however he could only come on Saturday. The HOA let us choose which day we inspected. Everyone voted for Saturdays. They secretly vetoed it and came Fridays but claimed it was Saturday they were coming. To prove this, I sat with my dog every Friday waiting for him. He would park, wait a while and then go to another street and measure there. My street was the only one who did not receive fines for breaking the agreement. It became a party when everyone figured out what I was doing. People would cook out in the front and we would all go throw on coals and food as needed. I got reported for something or other after the 3-month marker, so I brought my supercut 3 months of timestamped videos and submitted them to the HOA distribution list before I went to meet with them. There were 40 out of 50 people there because we had organized a day to go and air grievances. It was maybe the best time I ever spent with any HOA. And the next one is titled HOA Thugs. I was moving to a different city and crashed at my dad's townhouse for a few months to save money for the move. One day, a guy showed up to install a satellite dish that my dad ordered. My dad is not the type of guy to pay very close attention to HOA rules and apparently missed a brand new and highly contentious rule that satellite dishes were eyesores and no longer allowed. So just as the installer guy is getting up to the roof, this couple, head of the HOA, comes sprinting from their townhouse across the street to shut it down, screaming bloody murder. I had absolutely no issue with not getting a satellite dish, it was not even my house, but these two HOA thugs were absolutely awful. The wife was just hurling insults at the installer guy and the husband immediately started climbing the ladder up onto the roof to kick the crap out of the installer guy. None of this was provoked at all, it just went from 0 to 100 miles per hour in no time flat, and this couple was out of control. Well, the installer guy eventually had enough of having racist insults hurled at him and came down the ladder and started a full-on brawl with the husband in my dad's driveway. The wife was screaming at the top of her lungs at me, a stoned couch surfer whose only contribution to this whole fiasco was to answer a door and let a guy on the roof. I still vividly remember being absolutely dumbfounded watching these two grown men beat the crap out of each other while I tried to communicate to my dad on the phone over the shrill sounds of some strange woman absolutely berating me for ruining the neighborhood. It was wild. And by the way guys, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to like the video and post some star emojis in the comments if you like to support my channel. Thank you so much in advance. And the next one is the title story, and it is titled Fort Wayne, Indiana, family is poised to be evicted for having too many children. A family in Fort Wayne, Indiana is in fear of losing their home even though they can pay their rent. Comforting her 18-month-old while holding her 9-month-old Justin is routine for Margaret Ranger. All 4 of Ranger's children keep her busy these days, yet keeping a roof over their heads worries the mother most. "I'm just praying," Ranger said. The Rangers moved into their Lakewood Lane condo in Fort Wayne, Indiana back in 2017. At the time it was only Dad, Marcus, and Mom and sons Maximus and Lucius. But the family has grown with 2 more children in addition now, and therein lies the problem. The Rangers' lease outlines a maximum of 2 people can sleep in each of the 2 bedrooms. "Our bedroom, we have the 5-year-old here, the 7-year-old here, and obviously the baby is here too," Margaret Ranger said. And now the family faces eviction. They haven't failed to pay rent, nor are they nuisance tenants. "The police have never been here," Ranger said. "I have done nothing wrong except for having 2 extra babies." It is those 2 extra babies that put them in violation of their lease terms. Raycon Property Management alerted the family of the violation in August 2020. Documents show the family was able to sign a new lease in September only to get slapped with the eviction notice in October. As of Tuesday night, company representatives had not explained themselves so far. "They want me to find a place within a week or a month," Ranger said. "I don't know. I cannot find a job in the middle of a pandemic. I lost my job because of it. My husband's, barely working." Ranger understands the family is bigger than what is allowed, but she cannot understand why her property manager and homeowners association won't budge. "My main concern is time, in the middle of a pandemic," she said. An eviction hearing is slated for Wednesday. Ranger hopes the judge has something, she says. Raycon Management and the HOA have not shown. "Have some compassion for a family with little babies," Ranger said. But she fears her family will be kicked out with no place to go. "I cannot explain it, there's no words for that," Ranger said. "Just try to be strong, it's in God's hands at this point." Unlike Illinois, Indiana did not extend its eviction moratorium, which allows for certain evictions, including those for other than non-payment, to resume. And guys, unfortunately, since this story is still so fresh, there have not been any further updates so far, but in case I find a further update in the future, I will of course keep you posted. And the next one is titled Very Aggressive Speed Bumps. I rented a house in an HOA. It was not too bad, just normal stuff, but every now and then some board members would tool around and hand out fines for dirty driveways and such. Would not have cared if the president and a board member did not live on the same street as me and their driveways were in massive disrepair. The board member's son did some work on his truck and there was a massive oil spill partly covered with a red towel that sat there for 8 months while a few rust-colored streaks on our concrete was worthy of a fine. The funniest was when the HOA decided to install very aggressive speed bumps. The ones that were there previously were fine, graded not to be too jarring but required you to slow down. The only accident that occurred while we were there was the spouse of a HOA board member driving drunk and plowing into a tree. But there were always notices and mailings for people to slow down as this is not a racetrack. I guess they felt adding in a couple of literal asphalt curbs in the middle of the street would show people who dared to drive over 10 miles per hour on the main road. The only way over these things without feeling like you were going to break something on your car was to ease up the first ride. Come to a complete stop and then slowly ease down the drop, once for the front wheels and another for the rear. Some people had just taken to driving on the grass around them, so they put up concrete barriers there. After a few weeks, someone decided to pour diesel fuel on the speed bumps the day before the garbage trucks did their rounds. The speed bumps got completely destroyed. The HOA reinstalled the bumps and somehow made them even more aggressive, and a week later Captain Diesel struck again. They yanked them out again and just paved over the holes. It was beautiful. They did end up installing speed bumps a few months later, but they went with the stock plastic ones that bolt to the street, which was much more preferable to the man-made cliffs of Dover that were there previously. By the way guys, what I don't really understand here is if you pour diesel fuel over these speed bumps and then a supposedly large vehicle drives over them, why would they get destroyed? I don't really get that. If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. And the next one is titled, "What do you mean you won't mow my lawn when you cannot even mow your own?" To give some backstory, I'm a 19-year-old in community college living in a small neighborhood in my parents' old small house. I mow my own lawn, which is reasonably small because there is no HOA and I cannot hire anyone to do it for me. Also, the sun and exercise is great. 3 of my neighbors are either elderly, don't have the time or don't own mowers of their own, so I mow their reasonably small lawns for free at the same time I mow mine. I live in a very close neighborhood, so while I may do mowing, another neighbor may power wash driveways or some such. Let's just say I mow out of the goodness of my heart and get compensated with a bottle of cold water afterwards by 2 out of the 3. The third, however, is where the malicious compliance begins. The third neighbor is a very stubborn 40-something-year-old lady who number 1 owns her own mower, can afford to hire someone to do it for her, and is very specific about how and when her lawn gets done, even though it is free. Reason number 3 annoys me the most, honestly because she does not let me use my own mower or fix hers. Seriously, it's like she is punishing me for volunteering to help her. And this mower is a piece of crap. The blades are dull and she does not let me sharpen them. It is clogged full of old grass, she does not let me clean it. And yet every time I ask if I can tidy it up, she snaps, "Quit wasting time and just get the job done." She is mean, entitled and does not care that I do 4 lawns in one day. Even on days where I cannot mow the lawn because I'm feeling under the weather or am just too busy with school, she threatens to call the HOA, again we don't have one, and report me for running a business without a license unless I get the lawn mowed. I am pretty sure of 3 things. First, you don't need a license to mow a lawn, it's not a business since I don't ask for money or compensation, and that she does not have the number for the homeowners association that does not exist. I honestly should have stopped volunteering to mow her lawn a long time ago, but I just never had the heart. Except for last week, it is July, rainy and very hot, and on the morning I was scheduled to mow, it poured like a son of a gun. Now, those of you who mow lawns know you cannot, or rather should not, mow your lawn directly after it rains for various reasons, and my neighborhood is pretty shaded, so it takes at least a day to dry up. So, around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I am just relaxing and enjoying the free time when out of nowhere there's a frantic smashing of a fist on my door. I would call it pounding, but it honestly wasn't. Lo and behold, it is SL, stubborn lady, looking annoyed as ever. As soon as I crack my door, the yelling starts and I am almost blasted back as she tries to push my door open. I could not make out most of what she was saying, but I did hear the words lazy, brat and millennial thrown in there. I'm pretty laid back and used to dealing with angry adults, so this does not irk me all that much, but when she pushed the door open, that started to piss me off. Then she started to talk in an understanding voice. Or I guess more like a condescending voice, but anyway, SL, why isn't my lawn mowed? I need it mowed right now. Me, ma'am, it rained pretty heavily today, and I cannot...
I don't give a rat's ass what the weather is like. You better get your damn ass out there, I have company.
Ma'am, I'm not going to do your lawn. I did not even mow my own today. Please stop harassing me. SL, with her teeth clenched and neck veins popping.
If you don't mow the lawn right goddamn now, I will report you like I should have done a long time ago.
Now, while I could have argued, which I don't like to do, I had thought of a better plan. Me, alright ma'am, may I at least use my own mower?
No goddamn way, you snot-nosed kid. I want my lawn exactly the way I like it.
My plan was in action, so grabbing her lawnmower and seeing that her and her company's freshly rained-on fancy cars were alright on the edge of the lawn, I started to mow. I only got about halfway through before the mower completely shut down due to clogging and the sheer dullness of the blade, but it all worked out. Later that day, after a nice shower and meal, I heard the reaction to my compliance, which was, to my amusement, the insane screaming and ranting about why the lawn was only half done and every car was caked in mud and grass. I only got in trouble with her as none of my neighbors liked her very much, and of course she threatened again to report me to the non-existent HOA, to which I said go ahead, and then once and for all told her that I refuse to mow her lawn ever again. Update: since I am getting so many positive comments, I would just like to add that the other neighbors are going super out of their way and pitching me a few dollars to help me buy a brand new self-propelled mower. Go neighborliness. And guys, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.